Hello, today I am going to be reviewing the sixth studio album by Irish singer Enya. This album is called Amarantine. It was released on November 21st, 2005. The title Amarantine is derived from a Greek word meaning everlasting love, and there's also comes from the amaranth flower. Amaranth flowers are these like little red, they're very cute, they almost look like little hearts. I chose to review this album on Valentine's Day as I do believe that this album is predominantly about love, but it's also a lot more than that. This is one of her more esoteric records, and I have a lot to discuss about it because it's one of my favorites of hers. This is her first album to not have feature any Gaelic, which was always a staple of her records, and also was the first album of hers to not have an instrumental lead the album. She actually sings in the album opener. However, she sings in her own made-up language called Loxian, thanks to lyricist Roma Ryan. She was very inspired by working on the singing in the Elvish language for the Lord of the Rings films, which, as you know, is a fictitious language. And she, and her lyricist were trying to figure out a language that fit the best the vocal sounds, that fitted with the melody of the song, since Enya tends to work on these songs just by vocalizing and not actually using lyrics, and then lyrics are then placed afterwards. The melody is always most important, which I definitely agree with. So this language is called Loxian, and Roma Ryan actually wrote a book about it called Water Shows the Hidden Heart. I have not read that, which I do need to get back to. I'm very interested. The lyrics are actually kind of more interesting, I think, when they're sung in other languages on this record. I think the English language songs are the weakest in the songwriting catalog. There is also a song sung in Japanese, which she has never used before, which is also really cool. So the first song on this record is called Less Than a Pearl, and like I said, it is sung in Loxian. This is one of her most haunting and most beautiful ritualistic pieces. I don't know how else to describe it but that. It's very ominous and yet at the same time serene. In English, the lyrics state, "Out of the night has come the day, out of the night our small earth." As you know, the earth is described as a little pearl. You know how if you view from another planet like Mars, Earth is just a small little speck. Our words drift away, our words journey to find those who will listen. We call into the distance. This is repeated multiple times. Less than a pearl in the sea of stars, we are a lost island in the shadows. It may be our words become lost. It may be our words find nothing, find no one. We call into the distance. So it's sort of like life on another planet, wondering if there's life out there beyond. So these fictitious characters, the Loxians, are placed on another planet, and they are calling out to wonder if maybe there's other people out there that they could come and visit. You could place it on the view of us as well on this planet, calling out to see if there is alien life elsewhere out in the universe. But this poetic use of the idea of we are less than a pearl in the sea of stars, we are a lost island in the shadows, of course, the void that is the cosmos. We are just a speck, but we're a beautiful speck. We're a beautiful blue little polished pearl. Bjork uses that like analogy a lot in her songwriting as well. It reminds me of her song Solstice off of Biophilia when she sings Unpolished Pearl. And I love these sort of cosmological allusions in these songs because they are so much more esoteric. And I love seeing Enya go spiritual, but not in a Christian way. This is more of like a universal kind of cosmological approach, like I said, that it, encompasses religion, but it goes beyond that to just sort of understanding what life and the universe really is. And this sort of calling out, which could be analogized to being a more personal battle of us being our own little pearls. This could all be one giant metaphor for a lonely soul trying to find a lover as well. As you know, there's always that romantic illusion in all of her songs. And so you can internalize these lyrics to be about yourself searching out for a lover. We call out into the distance. We put out our energy and we see it comes back to us. The melody is exquisite, and I love the build, the hi-ha that sings We Call Out into the Distance over and over. It just gets larger and larger until it spaces out in this beautiful sort of ambient swell. The title track, Amarantine, is unfortunately not a very strong song in my opinion. It's got a little bit more of a traditional percussive pop structure. Like I said in my A Day Without Rain review, she really does kind of pivot towards doing some more conventional, orchestrally backed pop sounding songs for a lot of her songs sung in English that are meant to be catered to radio. She does have some haunting vocal layering when she sings Amarantine, but that's about it that really draws me into its memorability. It's about a newfound love. It's about the excitement and thrill of it. But you also know love may sometimes make you cry, so let the tears go, they will flow away. The music video features her in this beautiful red dress with this very long train in a jungle or some sort of, fantastical forest space. And it does have this sort of escapist, new age sort of sentiment about it. And I think it might be a little bit on the pretentious side rather than being on the truly like emotional, genuine side. But of course, whenever Enya sings about love, it is genuine and it's is a little bit more on the simplistic side, but that happens to be where a lot of her melodies tend to go. I do understand with some critics saying it gets a little monotonous and repetitive after over time that these songs feel rehashed. Like Amarantine feels a little bit like Only Time, put through a blender and put out in another version. The second single, It's in the Rain, was a little bit more interesting to me. I find the construction of this song to just be a little bit more intriguing and memorable, as well as the lyrics being stronger. Though the music video is definitely not as strong. Every time the rain comes down, I close my eyes and listen. I can hear the lonesome sound of the sky as it cries. Listen to the rain, here it comes again. She rhymes rain with gain because of that Irish accent. Feel the touch of tears that fall, they won't fall forever. In the way the day will flow, all things come, all things go. And late at night I drift away, I can hear you calling, and my name is in the rain. Similar to her song Echoes in Rain, leaves on trees whispering deep blue seas mysteries. So it's interesting that she has now two songs where she sings about rain, which is something I would not find to be that magical to sing about. I always listened to this song and I was like, I don't like rain. What is in the rain but sadness? I don't find rain to be something that gives me a lot of emotive feeling. If not, if it does, it's just a feeling of melancholy or sadness. She hints at that because she alludes it to tears that fall and let them fall, they won't fall forever, similar to a rainstorm. But she also talks about how you find me in the rain, like as if a lover can remind themselves of their love. See, I see that more in like the sunlight, when it hits the flowers or something a little bit more warm and sunny. But rain to me is just, it's depressing. So it's interesting that she uses that as a metaphor, and she does it as well with Echoes in Rain in Dark Sky Island 10 years later. So Enya has a bit of a fascination with rain. I must admit, she comes from a country that's probably one of the most rainy places on Earth. Ireland receives so much rain throughout the year. It's just how it is. The UK in general, and so you kind of have to make your love with it and understand and kind of accept that the rain is part of your life. But it's a much more interesting melody, especially as she sings the verses. If I could be where you are. This is the one sort of stripped back, almost a cappella, but just with a nice harp accompaniment. I can't speak today. And it is the most melancholy and tear-jerking ballad that, I mean, she has on her catalog. It is so full-bodied in sound, and there's a lot of vocal reverb, which echoes and sounds and fills the room much more beautifully than she's done in some songs in the past. I really do love this song, the sentiment of it. There's nothing more melancholy than being in love with someone but not being near them. Of course, I always interpreted this as also being about someone who has passed away. She did dedicate this album to someone who passed away in 2003, a BBC producer named Tony Macaulay, who she worked with a lot in 1987 for that BBC documentary, The Celts. So it could have a lot to do with that. Where are you this moment? Only in my dreams. You're missing, but you're always a heartbeat from me. I'm lost now without you. I don't know where you are. I keep watching, I keep hoping, but time keeps us apart. Is there a way I can find you? Is there a sign I should know? Is there a road I could follow to bring you back home? So the ultimate sort of pleading, almost existentially, about where this love or this relationship may go, or also reflecting on how this person could never come back to you because they have passed on, but asking the universe, is there a way I can see them again? It's a very personal and heartfelt, tragic sort of ballad, and it really tugs at the heartstrings in the way Enya knows best, with that beautiful, echoey vocal where she really pours into the sounds and the words, and they're very crisp and clear. And yet, like I said, there's all of this swell around her vocal reverb that adds so much more ambience to the song. The notes really hang in the air very well. I think the production is very, very well done on this record. It's very crisp and clean, and it's one of her newer albums, so it has a bit better of a mastering quality. Like the master is much more like in mixing. These songs are better mixed. They're a lot louder too. The mixes of her earlier records from the 90s are a lot more dulled, which is a shame. So this does speak about someone who is in a dark place and, understanding that the light will come when they return back to me. We pick things up a bit with The River Sings. This is another song and Loxian type song. This is a song I would love to see interpreted into a dance because it is so energetic and rhythmic. The lyrics say, "Our words go beyond the moon, our words go into the shadows. The river sings the endlessness. We write of our journey through night. We write in our aloneness. We want to know the shape of eternity. Who knows the way it is? Who knows what time will not tell us? Mountains, solitude, and the moon, until the journey's end? The river holds the lost road of the sky, the shape of eternity. Who knows the way it is? Who knows what time will not tell us? Where is the beginning?" The song spaces out for, again, these more sort of, I would consider ethnic tribal chants, which feel very primal and primitive. And I love that about it because it speaks to, a type of cultural singing that I think is kind of more African inspired. And the singing about the river carrying the essence of eternity. It's a very, like I said, again, spiritual concept. A lot of people use water to describe femininity, but also to describe, the river of life, the river of time. And also, again, our words go beyond the moon, they go into the shadows. We're singing out on this planet and we're asking these questions. So these songs sung in Loxian are the most existential songs that she has done, along with maybe a few others in other records of hers. But I really come back to them as just these haunting pieces of work, which, if you translate them into English, are really beautiful lyrics. The river holds the lost road of the sky. I mean, what river are we really talking about here? We're not just talking about a typical river here. We are talking about some kind of energetic connection spiritually with dimensional structures of the universe. If you follow New Age spirituality, it talks a lot about energy structures and energy flow, chakras. That's one way of understanding it. So this song speaks on so many different levels of analogy and metaphor to encompass the existential questions of what really is reality. Long, Long Journey is, again, another more sort of Celtic sounding song because it is about that long, long journey through the darkness to find our way back home. It has a bit more of a, all together now, let's sing as we row the boats through, through the valleys. It feels very much like a triumphal march, like a infantry would sing this as they march along to battle. And for that, it gets a little cheesy or a little campy. The melody isn't that strong, but Enya does have these nice percussive pop structured songs, and this song follows in that aesthetic. But what are sighs and what is sadness to a heart that is coming home? That's a very strong lyric to understand that, again, the journey is actually worth it. We're coming back to something, and there will be redemption. Again, you can put these songs, since they're so vague and open, to be very personal, or you could open them up to be very spiritual about humanity or large masses of people. Sumiregusa. This is a Japanese poem titled Wild Violet in English. So it's inspired by a type of poem called hoku, which is also part of a linked poem called renga and renku. So if you know haikus, well, this poem's composed of those, but it's stretched out. But today we do call them more haikus. But if you would consider where this came from, it's a hoku, written by Matsuo Basho. He became overwhelmed with joy at the sight of a wild violet in the snow. It was like this burst of color. So the lyrics in English are the poignancy of things, a purple flower, the blossom of springs, and the light snow of winter, how they fall. The beauty of nature, a green leaf, and autumn colors. The voice of the wind, the song of birds, a sad sea, a joyful sea, mountains, pebbles, a wild iris. This probably is my favorite song on this record, and it's one of my favorite songs of her entire catalog. Hearing her adapt a Japanese haiku, it just flows so beautifully with her voice. She delivers this very slowly and deliberately, and she pronounces the words in a way, I mean, her voice is so well crafted for the Japanese language. I really do think some languages are just more beautiful sounding, and Japanese is one I find to be quite so, along with Korean. I think they're both very beautiful languages. I'd love to hear her sing in Korean as well. And she also, embodies this sort of Japanese Zen aesthetic because of her outfit in the album cover. So it's very fitting that she would pay tribute to Japan. She also has a humongous fan following in Japan, so she also wanted to pay tribute to them. She did perform this song in Japan on TV. This song has a lot of reverb and vocal layering, like a lot of hers do, and it just cascades over you. This song drifts a lot like a petal falling off of a tree. It's not hurried. It simmers in the moment, just as these lyrics describe a moment too. It's still and it's meditative, as it's meant to be. This would harken back to a lot of ideas of Buddhism and also Shintoism as well. The stillness and beauty of nature. If you're familiar with Zen gardens, which are gardens in Japan, that emphasizes that. There's just a regality to her presence on this song, and it's unmatched in a lot of her other adaptations. And this is the sort of authenticity that I miss when she does more of these pop English songs, like Amarantine, for example. The exquisite composition, the melody is literally it's like a cascade. To be best described, the way the notes fall over each other and this beautiful cadence. And then there's this one part towards the bridge where she has her voice echoed as these high sort of I don't know how to describe it, but they're these notes that feel and sound. It sounds very Japanese, like birds kind of in the distance as they come close and then fade away. So it really gives you a sense of space and of passage of movement. An exquisitely beautifully crafted track that is so calm, so meditative, so Enya, and also beautifully representing and celebrating Japanese culture and Japanese haiku or hoku in the traditional form, which is a beautiful form of poetry, a beautiful form of art. Someone Said Goodbye would definitely fall into the category of hit or miss in the miss category. I feel like it's one of the weaker tracks. It is an interesting melody. She's going for a little bit more of like a Beach Boys, Beatles type melody structure. She does this with some of her songs where, again, there's a little bit more of a percussive background. And I mean, I appreciate it. It's, speaking about, again, a ending of a relationship, and you don't know why it happened. We are often left questioning why something just ended. Why did someone have to say goodbye? A Moment Lost, though, is a little bit more full-bodied, and it's short and it's beautiful and melancholy, just in the way I would like. A moment lost, forever gone, will never be again. I wonder how you can endure all I've said, all I say to you. How can you live with all these memories? Because it is so much. How strong, how brave, how true of you to bear the hurt I gave. I know it tears your heart in two, all I've said, all I say to you. Like, it's again asking for forgiveness. There was a moment that I really regret, and it's gone forever, and I can't take back the things that I said, and I live with them now for the rest of my life, and I wonder how you can. because I feel so bad about what I said. And so I wish that I could go back. And after all the dreams we made, all the words I said, everyone became a precious one, everyone a summer sun. I love the positive sort of spin and melody to that last bit of the bridge. The key change is, I think, very needed in this song to keep it from being too repetitive. And ultimately, it ends by saying, look, I just hope you know that what you gave me, I will cherish forever. I wish I could have given you back just as much, and I regret it to this day. But what you did for me was the greatest thing I've ever experienced. Paying tribute to that love, even if it did have to end in a painful way. So Drifting is a instrumental that was actually composed off of just original piano melody. This would be kind of considered the one instrumental on the album, sort of like how our title tracks used to be on previous records. I do find this one, it's very calm and serene to be a little bit plodding. It's a longer instrumental. Usually her instrumentals are quite short, but this one's over 3 minutes. So I do feel like it overstays its welcome just a little bit. But it is also still, it's got a strong cello going through the melody. It does feel very calm and serene, like you are literally drifting in a river in water. That's the imagery it evokes. But I do think she has stronger instrumentals. In some ways, I'm glad that this doesn't open up the album because I don't think the melody is strong enough. It's more kind of just background music to a conversation rather than music that arrests and focuses all of your concentration. And then we have Amid the Falling Snow. Roma talked about this song just basically being about the excitement of seeing snowfall. The first of winter, it is always exciting. And it's also a little bit of a Christmas song. Enya was starting to think about her next record, And Winter Came, and I think this was a precursor to it because this song would fit very well on that album. But again, I don't find it to be that memorable in terms of the melody. And lastly, we have Water Shows the Hidden Heart. This song, like Sumiregusa, is done in a very sort of delicate, cascading, melodic way. And it is a beautiful melody that she sings in a very operatic tone. Again, just a harp accompaniment, and her voice just literally, it's like water cascading up and down. It goes all over, and it's a very beautiful, contemplative song. The layering that comes in and out, and the way she goes from her head to chest voice up and down. In the lyrics for English, it says, "From the city of constellations to the wanderer and a place of rains, he journeys on, the city of hesitation and doubt. The island, if the house, the color of the sea, the plain of mementos, he journeys on to find his love, the valley of lost time, the city of end and endlessness, the isle of revenants. He journeys on, the city of solitudes, the city of distance from you, the city of words of blue and yellow and red and green. He journeys on to find his love." I could go on. It's very long. There's a lot of lyrics to this song because there's a lot of words that are sung. But I don't necessarily put too much onto the lyrics. This is a little bit more about the melody and the words that she uses to describe that melody. However, it's one of the most interesting lyrically. I mean, these words, the city of revenants, the city of solitudes, the city of distance from you, this is where Roma really shines as a songwriter. And it's a shame that some of her best lyrics are ones that are not translated into English. That tends to be the case with a lot of her songwriting, which I do find quite interesting. It is kind of nice because it does make you have to hunt a little bit more, and it adds a little bit more mysteriousness because when you first listen to it, you don't know what she's saying, and then you kind of like uncover it, and you're like, wow, this is actually really deep. So the pretentiousness of singing in another language, it's not like she's just singing "I love you" in another language. I always find it kind of cheesy when artists pretend they're speaking another language and all they're singing is like "te amo" or "je t'aime." It's like, come on, like if you're gonna sing another language, like make the lyrics still very interesting. You can't use the fact that you're singing in another language to cop out the fact that the lyrics are actually not that strong if they were translated into English. You know what I'm saying? So it does help that there's added depth to the English lyrics, not just to the depth of the fact that she can sing in other languages, let alone a made-up one. Let me know what you think about this album because I find it to be one of her most interesting. It's up there with The Memory of Trees for me as one of my favorite albums of hers. Again, there are elements that draw it back. I do think the pop sounding songs are the sort of part of this record that doesn't hit the mark for me, and it is a shame because you know, she does grow and evolve, but sometimes the songs don't necessarily feel that new or fresh. And I can sort of understand on songs like Amarantine, Someone Said Goodbye, Long, Long Journey, and even It's in the Rain, though I do think that one has shown some progression from her career through her career, from the music she's done in the past. Where she really shines is on the slow, deliberate ballads on this record, or on the swelling, orchestral, ethereal, uh, Loxian tracks like Less Than a Pearl or The River Sings. The overall ethereal nature of this record, and also I think the slight Japanese influence, because I think a lot of these songs feel very Japanese or very Asian in imagery and in sound. There's some Buddhist undertones, especially to songs like Water Shows the Hidden Heart. So I find this album to be a tribute in some ways to the Far East, and I definitely am interested in that. The visuals that are conjured up by the very strong melodies that she crafts on some of these songs, otherworldly. It really takes you to another place, which is not something that all of her albums do so well, though most of them do. I have reviewed all of her big studio albums now: The Memory of Trees, Shepherd Moons, A Day Without Rain, Dark Sky Island, and Winter Came, this album, and Watermark, but I have not reviewed The Celts, which is technically her first record. So that is the last Enya record I have yet to review. So stick around because I'll be coming soon. Please give this video a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and hopefully any new Enya fans that happen to stumble, like I said, I have all those reviews. I'll link them in the description box below, as well as a playlist that I have made of all of them as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. Have a happy Valentine's Day. And as this album does, let's celebrate and reflect on all the love that we have gotten in our lives, and hopefully be open to finding more love coming out through us in different places we never thought we could find on our little pearl, and celebrate that. Peace, love, and light. Bye.